Thanks for checking out this edition of This Week in the World of Football, coming to you live from the fabulous World of Football Man Cave, located in the center of the football world, Kalamazoo, Michigan. The purpose of this podcast is to promote the game of football in all its many forms, past, present, and future. We hope to educate, inform, and entertain you with the glorious buffet that is the world of football, while also keeping a close eye on the rich history of the game. You can find the show after it's aired live on a multitude of podcasting platforms, as well as right here on YouTube along with past shows. If you want to connect with us, just find us on Facebook, X, Instagram, and Threads. Those links will be down in the episode description. Remember to comment, like, and share this video. If you have thoughts or comments during the show, drop them into the live chat and maybe you'll see your name on screen. If you have questions and they are deemed appropriate, they'll be answered at the end of the broadcast. So without further ado, let's kick off this week's show.
Well, hello, everybody. Welcome to This Week in the World of Football. I am not Randy Snow, who is apparently frozen in time over there. I don't know what he's got going on, but hello. How is everybody doing? Dad, if you're listening, jump out and jump back in. I don't know what the deal is. Dale, I think you jinxed it to start the show off with technical issues. We were all good, and then Randy just froze up. So you jinxed it. We were good. We were just the couple last second things we were putting together. Wasn't technical till Randy decided to hop on. So I have to pull up his script and do this all myself because that's how today's show is apparently going to go. How is everybody doing today as I vamp and pull up whatever script Randy sent me for today's show?
I'm here. What happened?
Oh, I don't know. You froze up before we got in. I'll let you take it away.
When announcer lady was done talking, all I have.
I don't know. You sound like you have internet issues, Randy, because you have broken up, and I can't.
This is episode number 428. If we ever get this going, for January 13th, 2026. I'm your host, Randy Snow. On today's show, it was a wild weekend in the NFL playoffs. The matchup is set for the College Football National Championship game, and the Arena League's Grand Island, Nebraska team gets a name and logo. But I'm not here all by myself, and I wasn't really here at all for a minute, but my son Adam's here too.
Yeah, you got to love a live show. Thanks, Scott. Yep. Just when I thought we had all the kinks worked out, Randy comes in and throws me a curveball. So,
it's all my fault.
Yeah, guys. I also have a new setup, so I'm hoping it's not on my end. I got a whole new kind of setup on this end. I was hoping it would make the internet thing a little easier, but we'll have to wait and see. So if you guys just keep us posted in the chat how that's going for you. Hopefully the rest of the show goes nice and smooth because we got a good one. We got a lot of stuff to talk about, Dad. So it was a wild weekend, man. And I'm not even kidding. Like, I watched so much football this week. I'm surprised my wife let me get away with it. So how are you doing?
I'm good. You say wild weekend in the NFL. I say boring as
all
heck.
Football.
I couldn't believe it. So we'll talk about that as we get into this thing. Anything else before we get going here?
Now I can't hear you at all, Randy.
I can hear you fine.
I don't know what you're doing over there. Scott says Adam is coming in clear. As my mouse stops working on me. In clear. So,
can anybody hear me?
I don't know. Randy's audio is working. Oh, my headphones stopped working. Maybe that's what it is. Yeah, my headphones like disconnected from the computer. I think I can hear you now. Try to say something.
Hello.
All right, there you go. And then so like my headphones. Oh, dude. Okay, I'm putting this all on Dale this week because we were all good until he wrote technical issues in the chat. So Dale, this is on you this week, Dale, for putting that juju on us, as my wife would say. Don't put that juju on us ever again before the show starts up.
All right, let's just keep going here.
Let's wipe our
Not-
hands of that one and move on.
Not only do we have this weekly podcast, we may not have it much longer, but we also make YouTube videos. We currently have over 750 videos on our YouTube channel, with the newest ones being our NFL picks video from the wild card weekend last week. You and Kyle still going to do a episode of just lying around with the 2025 awards in the next week or so?
That is the plan. But we don't have a date set for that yet. But as soon as we do, I'll let you know. Because Kyle, I talked to Kyle since we did that last show. I think he's in Lions hibernation right now, especially with what happened with the Bears this weekend. So
okay, and we've also got what is it, episode 5 of Inside the Arsenal that we're working on, trying to get that done this week.
Yeah. Do we want to tease that a little bit? We might have it coming later this week/weekend. We're definitely going to talk a little bit of Michigan Arsenal later on in the show. So maybe stick around for that. We'll tell you what exactly, if you haven't been keeping, your ear to the ground for all the Arsenal news or Arena Football One news. We'll dive into that later because that'll tie into a future episode or two of Inside the Arsenal. I got to text Coach about something else. So,
okay. All right. Well, without further ado, before anything else technical happens, let's begin our weekly tour around the world of football. And we're going to start off this week in the NFL with playoff scores.
That's right, guys. Thank God we only have to talk about 6 games and not 16. But legitimately one of the best NFL playoff weekends I can remember. I don't know about you, Dad, how much you sat down and watched, but to me, when 4 of the games were within 4 points of each other, the final scores, like that's some darn good football. And at one point, it was the teams going into the 2-minute warning, blowing that lead to end the game. So just some wild finishes, wild card weekend for about 4 out of 6, living up to the wild aspect of it. And the last one we'll talk about in a second, leading to a wild story today, which I couldn't believe crossed my phone. So let's start off with the first game of the weekend, which was the Rams traveling down to Carolina to take on the Panthers. And this was a game I think a lot of us figured the Rams are going to walk away with this one. Yeah, they lost to the Panthers in the regular season, but there ain't no way. Ain't no way the Carolina Panthers, a team that's 8-9 with a losing record, backed into the playoffs, is going to give the Rams a run for their money. But they did, Randy. They did give them a run for their money.
They absolutely did, yeah.
It didn't start off like that. The Panthers clawed their way back, pun intended, and made this a heck of a game. They grabbed that lead right before that 2-minute warning. But you mentioned it. We were talking off air. They gave that man, number 9, too much time at the end of the game.
Yeah, I really thought that the Rams were going to lose that game. But in the end, when I saw, okay, there's 2.5 minutes left, Matthew Stafford has the ball, he needs a touchdown, I said, this game's over. Rams are going to win. And he did what we saw him do for so many years in Detroit. He marched them down the field. He scored the touchdown and won the game.
Yes, he did. Matthew Stafford, he threw a couple of bad picks during that game too. But when it came down to it at the very end, the Rams clearly showed that they were the better team. Look, nothing against the Panthers. And I'm not saying they didn't deserve to be in the playoffs. Hosting a playoff game, I think, is now up for discussion for a team with a sub-record winning their division. Look, I think if you get the division record, we talked about it ad nauseum last week. If you get the division, you should be in the playoffs. But I think it should then be seeded accordingly by record, regardless of how you finished up. But regardless, Rams got the win. Panthers put up a hell of a fight.
I think this game is a good argument for not doing it that way. I mean, you are the division champ. The Rams were not. Yes, the Panthers snuck into the playoffs with a sub 500 record, but look what happened. They darn near won that game at home in front of their home crowd. So
the key word there, darn near. They didn't do it. They didn't do it.
Well,
now if they would have done it,
half the teams lost this weekend. So yeah, half the teams almost did it.
A lot of the road, I think almost every road team pretty much put this, I think except for 2 games, the road teams took these games. But all right, so that was Rams and Panthers. We'll talk about the next round in a second, but then we talk about the second game on that Saturday as the Chicago Bears beat the Green Bay Packers 31-27. This was a game the Packers controlled for 3 quarters, Dad. And then somehow, some way, they pulled the Lions defensive play sheet out and played Swiss cheese defense because Caleb Williams and the Bears just absolutely carved the Bears up in the fourth quarter. I think they scored 25 points in the fourth quarter. And the Bears just, I don't know how they were able to pull that off. Because for the majority of this game, the Packers looked like the better team. At no point did Caleb Williams impress me. Yeah, he had a couple of nice throws, but there was nothing the Bears did that impressed me. It was just kind of like one little thing after another kind of stacked up, and eventually the Bears got into it. It was a few plays the Packers also didn't make. So I think the Packers shot themselves in the foot a little bit. What do you think about this game?
I thought this was the most boring game I had ever watched. It
What?
was impossible to watch. It took everything I had to not switch away from this game. Both of those teams were terrible. They were crap teams. Their offenses were crap. The defenses played halfway decent, but everybody was, balls thrown over the receiver, fumbles, and just everything that could go wrong went wrong for both of these teams for 4 quarters. By some miracle, the Bears came and I think not so much the Bears won, but the Packers lost this game. They laid an egg in the fourth quarter. But this and several of these games this weekend I thought were terrible. They showed how terrible these games. This is supposed to be the NFL playoffs. This looked like preseason games where nobody knew what the heck they were doing. It was awful. This was a terrible, rotten weekend.
Malarkey, I say, Randy. I think you're just mad because we're Lions fans, and it was tough to watch that game because we knew one of these two teams was advancing. And
Right.
Well, we were both kind of rooting for the Packers to snuff out the Bears. The Packers let us
Right.
down, which makes us even more mad. So screw you, Green Bay, and screw you, Chicago. But I disagree. This is a great weekend of football. I think a couple of the games ended up being duds there at the end, but we're still in the thick of it, the good games. And so whatever. The Bears, I think Caleb Williams, I hate Caleb Williams even more now after him putting on the cheese grater helmet. And then I want to know how fans are getting these cheese graters with blocks of cheese into these NFL stadiums. Like how? We started at the Lions game last year on the Amazon Prime game. Somehow Lions fans snuck in a real cheese grater. And now several fans in Chicago sneaking in cheese graters. How does that get through security? I don't get it. All right.
I don't know.
Then the triple header on Sunday. Oh, do you have something else?
Well, I was going to say maybe the home teams are selling these cheese graters, making a little money on the side, buying a $5, selling it for $20, making a little profit there, and throwing a wedge of cheese to boot. So maybe that's what they're doing. I don't know.
Maybe. All right. Anyway, back to the triple header on Sunday, which kicked off with the Buffalo Bills escaping a scary game down in Jacksonville as they beat the Jaguars 27-24. This game was awesome. It had just about everything. Controversy going into the half. Josh Allen going to the blue 10 at one point. And the Jags putting up a heck of a fight. But at the end of the game, it was the same thing where you gave Josh Allen too much time. And Josh Allen was able to, what do they call it? The tush push. He was able to tush push in a couple of first downs and eventually got in the end zone to win the game there at the end for the Bills. This is a fun game, Randy. I don't know how much of this one you watched. I know you had a lot of stuff going on.
Game. I saw none of this game at all.
You were very busy on Sunday. We had a little scary incident in the fam. So all's good. Randy's fine.
Yeah, everything's fine. Sunday was wild.
Sunday was wild for you. So that game was absolutely wild. Actually, the tush push in Buffalo is known as the snow plow. Wow. I didn't know that, but I didn't know that.
I never heard that either.
Did you see any footage from the post game pressers at all then?
No.
Okay, well, there's a great story. Go and look this up if you guys haven't seen this. The Jags lost the game and Liam Cohen was at the podium and one of the reporters there gave like the friendliest, nicest like pep talk after the game. Like, Coach, I just want to say we think you're great. keep your head up high, young man. And we think you're the best thing to happen to this team. It was just like one of the nicest things I've ever heard at a press conference. And despite the Jags losing, I think that was a really cool message. And watch out for the Jags next year. I think the Jags could be a force to be reckoned with come 2026. So
yeah, they're getting better all the time.
So do yourself a favor and go check that clip out. But anyway, back to the games. The San Francisco 49ers took out the defending Super Bowl champions 23-19. If you're a big Monsters Inc. fan, that reference alone should get you through today. But I was rooting for San Fran. Philly made it a game, but at the end of the day, the Niners were able to pull that one out. I got scared because the trend had been the teams leading at the 2-minute warning lost the game, and San Fran had the lead at the 2-minute warning, but we're lucky to hold on to that one. And I thought San Fran looked great. It sucks they lost George Kittle during the game to a scary Achilles tear. I don't know how that'll affect him going forward, but I think Gesicki, is that how you say his name? The fullback there kind of stepped up. I forgot how to pronounce his last name, but San Fran was able to pull it out. Brock Purdy looked pretty good. So clearly you didn't watch that game, so I guess you don't have thoughts on it.
But I didn't want to see the Eagles repeat, so I was happy that they got out.
Hey, no Chiefs, no Eagles in the Super Bowl. I think, finally a nice maybe a fresh team getting into the Super Bowl this year will be something we need. Then let's see the final game of that weekend. This is where the game started to become Snorefest. Games I went to bed at halftime at. The Patriots beat the Chargers 16-3. The Chargers looked terrible. I think Herbert took like 6 sacks in that game. And then the final game of the weekend last night, the Houston Texans went into Pittsburgh. And I don't know how much holy water they threw in those end zones for that game, but it didn't help as the Texans spanked the Steelers 30-6. I went to bed. It was it 3-3 at halftime last night? That game was kind of boring. And
it was totally boring. The score does not indicate how bad of a game this was on both sides. 2 of those touchdowns by the Texans were defensive touchdowns. An interception return for a touchdown and a fumble recovered and run in for a touchdown. I thought it was pretty poetic that Rodgers' last play or last pass is going to be a pick 6 where he tried to shove the guy out of bounds and missed, and the guy just kind of shrugged him off and ran in anyway. So that's the way I want to remember Aaron Rodgers, is going out as a loser with a pick 6. That at least made my weekend.
Right on. See, let's jump into so as we wrap up, talk about Wild Card Weekend. Let's talk about a few things here in the chat. Sorry I didn't bring them along the way, guys, but Scott says, don't have a problem with division winners all getting a spot, but you have to give the teams with the best record the home game. I think that's where we're trending, and I think the league is going to start hearing teams push back with that, and we might see a change this year. I don't know how fast they can turn that around, but I have a feeling we're going to see that this year. B. Lewis says the Eagles just fired their offensive coordinator, Kevin Patullo, but I'm happy he's gone. That's why the O-line was so bad. Yeah, I know there was a lot of grievances there. There was a great interview with a young kid after that game talking about this guy should be out there flipping burgers because he's been flipping burgers with our team, because in one half, great, well done. You flip it over to the other side and it's just terrible and raw. And it was like one of the funniest things I've seen. Look up that kid. I just saw that today and cracked up. It was so good. Let's see. In the Chargers game, says Dale, they had no offensive line. They just got crushed. Yeah, if you looked, I think when they showed all the introductions, it showed where all the offensive linemen ranked on the PFF scale, and they're all towards the bottom. So, yeah, the Chargers O-line was pretty beat up this year. But then there were a couple news stories other than we just talked about the offensive coordinator getting let go for the Eagles. But the big one, the one that shocked me, Dad, is I guess I don't have it here. Let me remove that. And I want to add this image here so we could talk about this story. Mike Tomlin stepping down as the head coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers today. Totally caught me off guard.
Well, they talked about it quite a bit at the end of the game last night. Would Rodgers be back? Would Tomlin be back? I even was texting a buddy of mine who was a big Steelers fan, and he was like, Tomlin needs to go, and I hope he doesn't come back and whatnot. But I think they gave. I don't know if he really decided to step down, or if they said, we'll give you a way to save face. We'll let you step down, so we won't fire you. but it's time to go or something like that.
Just absolutely crazy. I was thinking about this on the drive home after I saw that news, that the AFC North now completely going to look different next year. You got John Harbaugh leaving Baltimore. Now you got Mike Tomlin leaving Pittsburgh. The Browns firing Stefanski. All you got there is Zach Taylor up in Cincinnati now, or down in Cincinnati from Kalamazoo. But it's just that whole AFC North is going to look totally different next year. I'd be curious to see who the Steelers get, because I mean the Steelers have only had like 2 coaches in my lifetime, 3 coaches in your lifetime. I want to say,
yeah, pretty much, yeah,
absolutely crazy. Because he was there for 19 years, almost 20 years. Yes,
never
had
a losing season.
Never loses, but he never wins. I mean, he does have that one Super Bowl under his belt, but man, yeah, four head coaches since 1969. So maybe you've had 4 head coaches, Randy. I don't know, but you're like 1,000 years old anyway, so you'd know. Just absolutely crazy. I never thought I'd see that. Well, I mean, I knew the day would come. I just didn't think it'd be that the same offseason we'd lose Tomlin and Harbaugh. Like, I already think the Steelers Ravens might be the best rivalry in the NFL. I know Packers Bears is the longest, but the last couple of decades has shown the Steelers and Ravens probably have the best rivalry in the National Football League. So it's going to be weird going into next year.
Maybe those 2 coaches will just switch teams. Maybe Harbaugh goes to Pittsburgh and Tomlin goes to Baltimore.
I doubt that. I could see. I heard or read somewhere that Tomlin might be looking at like broadcasting gigs, which I think he'd be great at. I think maybe he's been talking for years. There's been rumors of him wanting to step away from the game anyway. So maybe I think he just transitions into one of those pregame shows and does great. Yeah. I think he'll be awesome. He's a fun dude at the mic. So I think he'll just easily slip into one of those roles. So very excited to see where he ends up in that aspect. But now all eyes on the AFC North as it's going to look totally different. That's all I got for NFL stuff. Do you have anything? Yeah. Oh, I guess we got a preview going into next week.
Yeah. Well, this just means that there are now 9 head coach openings in the NFL with the Steelers. So like you said, Browns, Cardinals, Dolphins, Falcons, Giants, Raiders, Ravens, Titans, and now the Steelers.
Yep.
Yeah, you have a graphic for the upcoming playoffs?
I was looking for it right now. Didn't even think about it till like just this second. So you can just start going through that.
Yeah, I forgot to add that to our script, but I do have it in a spreadsheet here. So
I'm getting it right now. Don't you worry.
Okay. I've got the matchups.
All right, yeah, start going through it. I'll get the graphic loaded up.
All right, so on Saturday, the first game is going to feature the Buffalo Bills at the Denver Broncos. That should be a pretty good game. And the second game is going to feature the San Francisco 49ers at the Seattle Seahawks. Another good game. And then Sunday, it's going to be the Houston Texans at the New England Patriots. These are all good games this coming weekend. And then the LA Rams at the Chicago Bears for the late game on Sunday. So yeah, 4 very interesting games coming up this weekend.
Yeah, I'm very excited. And in our fantasy football league, we already did like picking all the games all the way through the Super Bowl. I know we do our weekly show where tomorrow night, guys, 7:00, come around for that. Yeah, get that out of here, Randy. We're going to talk about our picks for that, but I've already I have a new team I really like. Oh, I guess this one's just missing the Texans there, about to play the Patriots, but that was the latest I could find. But so imagine the Texans there next to the Patriots. But I think the Texans might be a scary team now to watch, make a little more noise than we thought after their performance last night. And I thought the Patriots didn't impress me, so might be swinging the Texans way. We'll find out tomorrow night on tomorrow night's show. But we're in for some great matchups. That Rams-Bears game, I already got the helmets ready to go. Should be an interesting matchup. So I think we're in store for another great weekend. So we'll have to wait and see. Scott says Buffalo-Denver should be an interesting one. Yep. I think the winner of that game might go to the Super Bowl. We'll see. We shall see. Denver's interesting. Denver's as good as Denver's been. They have not been as elite as I think the number 1 seed entails, and the same could go for Seattle. So I think we're in for some crazy stuff this weekend.
Okay, is that it for the NFL? Should we move on to college?
Let's do that, Randy.
Okay. Couple of bowl games in the college football playoffs. It started out with the Fiesta Bowl, where number 10 Miami of Florida upset number 6 Ole Miss 31-27. Weren't those sweet blue uniforms that Ole Miss was wearing? I love those uniforms that they were wearing in that game. Did you see it?
I thought that the Ole Miss uniforms for the last 2 games have been awesome. I've loved what Ole Miss has been doing in the playoff. Looked great. And I think, man, Miami looks great too. Like Miami's just got a classic, clean look. I really dig that. I think all the uniform matchup this weekend. Well, never mind. We'll talk about that next one. 3/4 of the teams looked fantastic uniform wise.
Yeah, but it all came down to the last play of the game. Did you think that was pass interference? I'm not sure. That could have gone either way because it was.
Yeah.
I mean, the ball wasn't that close, so I know a lot of in the past they always said if it was an uncatchable ball they wouldn't call pass interference. But the more I watch that, the more I kind of think it was pass interference.
It's hard to tell, man. There's certain situations where I'm just like, it's so obvious, but they're blurring that line so much now that I couldn't tell you. Would I have thrown the flag? Probably not. I think I would have kept it in my pocket. I think, both teams were playing pretty aggressive all night. And for most of the playoff, all these receivers and defensive backs get really handsy. So it's hard to say who's getting away with what, who's giving what an advantage or what's giving who an advantage. So I don't know. I would have ridden with the philosophy, game's on the line, let the dudes play. Unless it was super egregious, which I didn't think it was super egregious. So keeping them in the pocket.
I don't know. I don't know. That's why I was never a referee. That would have been a really tough call to make.
Yeah, but I think at the end of the day, though, Miami's a great story. Fascinating that they're going to get to play the national championship game in their home stadium against a team that we're very excited to see make it to the national championship.
Yeah. The other game over the weekend was the Peach Bowl. Number 1 Indiana over number 5 Oregon, 56-22. Indiana has just been so dominant all season long and in the playoffs. They're just a hard team to beat. It was kind of close for 3 quarters. It wasn't much of a blowout, but there in the fourth quarter, they just let the ball fly, and next thing you know, it's 56-22.
I think from the jump, Oregon went down, scored that first. That was
right.
Traded scores to start off.
Right.
But when they opened up and threw that pick 6, I was like, oh, this is the type of game we're in for. The first play of the game, pick 6. We don't really do a whole lot for college playoff games, but my wife, I asked her if it was cool. We made food. We had my in-laws over and watched the game because we knew cousin Nathan, and cousin Sue and all them would be at the game. So we were just watching the game on TV. It was a lot of fun, obviously rooting for Indiana, but I think, man, they punched Oregon in the mouth. Oregon hung for a minute, but it was all Indiana after that.
Yeah. It was nice to see. I was definitely rooting for Indiana, just for the reason that we have relatives that are involved with the Indiana program. Yeah, my niece Sue and her husband Ed and their sons Bailey in the stands, and Nathan, who's actually part of the team. He's on the sidelines every game as a student assistant with the team. So they've been following them everywhere. They were at the last bowl game in Glendale. And they went up to Oregon, I think, and they've been all over the place. I don't think they've gone to every game, home and away, but they've been to darn near every game this year. And
they've been to a lot of the big games.
Yeah,
they were in Eugene for that first matchup with Oregon, where it was close. They were there for this one. They were at the Rose Bowl. Now they're going to the national championship game. Just absolutely wild. I didn't think Indiana was always the pushover, the team I never thought would ever go anywhere. And here they are.
Right, yeah.
Awesome for them. And look out for Nathan on the sidelines. He was we were in a group text, and Aaron was saying how Nathan was getting a lot of screen time, and he was. That's why I was glad Indiana kept scoring, because you could see Nathan sitting there catching the football after it goes through the extra point net.
Oh,
He was the one grabbing the ball and putting it away. So it's pretty cool. We'll have to get him on the show. I know we talked about that last year. We'll have to get Nathan on the show, especially if they win the national championship. He's probably going to get a national championship ring. We'll have to have him show that off at some point, and we'll probably just have to have him just talk about this experience, an undefeated national championship season, which is on the line now next Monday night. So it's going to be absolutely crazy. Scott says, backwards world, Indiana 15-0 in football, Nebraska 15-0 in basketball. Oh, we don't talk basketball here, Scott. I know you know the rules, Scott. Just stop towing that line, sir. But it's absolutely crazy what the transfer portal and NIL has done to college football.
Yeah. So that sets up the matchup for the national championship game next Monday night on ESPN. Number 1 Indiana at 15-0 versus number 10 Miami of Florida with a 13-2 record in Miami's home stadium. It's going to be wild. Absolutely,
I think it's going to be electric. Absolutely electric. I don't want to pick a winner. I think we all know who I'm rooting for.
Sure.
But I think this will be a game. The question is, boy, Miami's been the underdog this whole time. Number 10 seed, all the debate on should they have been left out of the playoff from the beginning for Notre Dame. And they got a big old chip on their shoulder. Yep. And that, I think you cannot count Miami out, is all I will say. We should be in for a hell of a game.
Yeah. And the last thing in college football this week, the college football transfer portal, which opened up on January 2nd, is going to be closing this Saturday. And the last time I looked, there were over 4,000.
Did you jump in the portal, Randy?
No. But when I looked online to see how many people were doing it, they said there were over 4,000 players that were in the portal looking for a new home.
Man,
that's crazy. Absolutely
crazy.
Okay. Let's see. We've got nothing from our friend Greg St. James this week. So we'll probably see something from him next week, maybe.
Maybe, or he says he's got another 2025 wrap up coming. I'm not sure that'll be next week after. We'll keep it tabs. He did say he's sending you something or sending us something. I don't know if you've gotten it in the mail yet or not, but he said he sent you something.
Yes, he said he burned some DVDs of the couple of the games down there, the Yushen Bowl and the other
the Rice Bowl.
The Rice Bowl. Yep.
Right on. So,
Yep. Haven't seen them yet, but he did say they were on their way.
Cool. Very excited.
Right.
I think he sent one for both of us. I can't wait to check those out.
Yeah. Yep. Let's see. AF1 news. Our Michigan Arsenal have been having a Design the Mascot contest, and they are down to the final 5 finalists. Voting for this is going to end on this coming Saturday, the 16th. And I kind of like all of them. Do you have a favorite?
So I've been sticking away from saying a favorite out loud because what we got coming for one of the next episodes of Inside the Arsenal is we have some submissions from 3 of the 5 finalists talking about their design. So we'll have that on the show. And we'll probably be diving into that. And then we'll have the winner soonish. I don't know if we'll have that announced on the show, but we'll definitely have the winner pop in on that subsequent show at some point. So episode 6 or 7, somewhere down the line, we'll have the winner of the contest, and should be a lot of fun. I think this is great that the Arsenal did this. Voting is still going on, guys. You just go to their social media accounts. You can comment on those. You can email them at info@michiganarsenal.com. I don't think is the graphic getting covered up by the banner there? Nope, that's everything. So
yeah,
go over there, do it. I was scrolling through and was shocked to see how many people were commenting on the Facebook page. Their votes, so that'll get all tallied up, and I think that'd be pretty cool. I don't know if everybody in the chat's got a favorite. Do you have a favorite then, Dad? If you're asking me, I don't.
I do, and I did make a comment on one of the Facebook posts or whatever, but I'll, like you said, I'll save that until it's all over with.
Okay, right on. And a comment in here saying the Firebirds have signed Josh Kulka, brother of Tyler Kulka. Can't say as I heard that at all.
Didn't know either. No.
Not sure if that's the same brother we met at the Arena Crown or not. So
yeah, I'm not sure. Could be. Let's see. Let's move on to little news out of the Arena League. The
Oh, yeah.
Grand Island, Nebraska team finally has a name and logo. They're going to be called the Nebraska Siege. I guess over
what'd you think of that?
1,000. They had 1,000 submissions for the Name the Team contest, and the Siege was the one that was picked. And it is a sandhill crane wearing an aviator hat because the area is known for their air bases, military air bases in Nebraska, and for the sandhill cranes that migrate there every year. So it's kind of a blending of the two things that region is known for. And I like their tagline. It's a bird, it's a plane, it's a bomber crane, and I like that. I don't know if the mascot is going to actually have a name, but bomber crane is good enough for me. I like that. So I think it's a cool logo. It's a good name. What do you think?
I think, hold on, Nebraska Siege, if you're watching this, I've already got it. You got two possible names to name your crane mascot after. You got Frazier or you got Niles. I think that's it. I think that speaks for itself. There might be a lot of young kids out there watching this that have no idea what I'm talking about. I'm just old enough to know that reference. So I think that's where we go. Scott says solid logo for sure, but he calls them the Bird Stormers.
Ooh.
And I did see somebody, I can't remember if it was Trey from Off the Wall or somebody else on one of those threads talking about this logo, saying you can't go wrong with a bird wearing an aviator hat and goggles. Like that's a good look. I think it's such a cool look. I do think
you put any animal in a bomber helmet like that, whether it's a bear or a dog, whatever. But it works with a crane because cranes fly, and these pilots fly planes. So,
yeah, it's a great classic look. And speaking of looks, I got this image too of their multiple branding options here, the alternate logos, mascot look. They just did it up. I saw they have the badge logo where it actually used one of the military badges from the area and mix it with something else, and they combine them to make that badge logo, which I thought was pretty cool. So they're doing a lot of cool stuff here with this Nebraska Siege branding. So I've got a little disappointed they didn't pick the Nebraska Nightmare, which is what I submitted, but it looks great. It looks great.
Yeah,
a lot of cool branding.
It's
there,
a good look.
So.
Yep, it's a good look. I like it.
Yep. The Arena League look. Say what you will. I know they're one of the small. They're starting to get a little more popular. Of the 4 indoor leagues, I would put them at the 4th tier probably, but they do a lot of this stuff right. The logos are unique,
right?
And I think that is where they excel over a lot of these other leagues. I think they taking big swings on unique names and logos. Like Siege, I wasn't crazy about the name itself, but you give me that branding with the crane and the bomber hat, sold.
Yeah, because I guess a flock of sandhill cranes is called a siege. Like a murder of crows or some of the other. Yep.
That's pretty good. So like they put up that cool little video talking about that, explaining what a siege was. So I think that's pretty sweet, and very excited to see what the next 2 branding opportunities are for the Monroe and for Memphis in the Arena League.
Yeah, maybe we'll have those to talk about next week because this, like I said, this is a lot of fun, and I will say, like kind of like what you said, the Arena League is having fun with their teams, and that's what this is all about. People should have fun going out to the games, fun watching the teams, fun names with the teams, fun mascots, fun logos. Football is supposed to be fun, and they're doing it right. Yeah.
That's why the Memphis team needs to be the Pit Masters. I'm telling you right now. You got it. Like I know a lot of people are picking like the Elvis thing, the
Hound Dogs,
the Pharaohs, not the Hound Dogs. That's an Elvis reference too. Get that out of here. Pit Masters, lean into the barbecue, do something different.
Oh, and have their mascot be a pig with a bomber helmet on.
A pig grilling a pig would be pretty funny.
Yeah, I don't think you're going to see that.
Probably not.
All right, let's move on to the UFL draft. It started on January 9th and 10th. On the 9th, they had the quarterback draft, and I guess those are all the quarterbacks that were picked. The only name that I recognized was Luis Perez, and he's going to the Dallas Renegades. I guess he's been there, so he's returning to the Dallas Renegades. But the other quarterbacks, I couldn't tell you where they came from or what their experience was. I didn't recognize any of the names.
Matt Corral coming back to Birmingham. Matt was there last year.
Okay.
Jalen Morton from the Southwest Kansas Storm, as you remember. He's going to be with the Columbus Aviators.
Yes. Yeah.
Another name there, as you're even just looking at this one, Jordan Ta'amu's back with the Defenders. And then let's see, jumping over to the other teams here. Some of these names I don't recognize. Jake Plummer. Sounds familiar.
Not the same Jake Plummer.
I don't think so, but a few names in there with some NFL experience. Like Scott says, good for Morton. He needs to be there. Yeah, he had that opportunity last year for like a week. Then he came back down to the AF1. Now he's back with the Aviators. So going to be pulling for him. That should be an awesome opportunity for Jalen. Going to be keeping an eye out for that. So a name not on this list, though, Dad. I know this is talking UFL, but AF1 MVP Sam Castronova nowhere on this list. After he went with the Memphis Showboats last year. So people were wondering what was going to happen with him, with the Showboats, becoming one of those other teams. I would assume they're the Louisville Kings now. I'm not sure. And some of these teams only drafting 2 quarterbacks, some drafting a full 3. So I guess we'll have to wait and see. Maybe his future's still up in the air with this league. But that's just a name to keep an eye out for. Or will he come back to the AF1 and wreak havoc for a second year?
Who knows? We shall find out. So this quarterback draft took place on January 9th. They didn't announce it until yesterday. And on the 10th of January, they did a regional player draft where each team could get maximum of 3 players from allocated schools. Each team will have a couple of schools in their region that they can, get the first pick from. And the USFL did this back in the 80s. I thought it was a pretty good idea. But I have not even seen that list. So I don't know if that's out there or if they've released it. They were supposed to release it yesterday. So I don't know. But today is supposed to be the regular player draft. UFL players who finished the season on active or inactive, injured reserve rosters. And then tomorrow is supposed to be the free agent draft. Players not under contact to any other league. So it's still going on. It's an all-week thing. The draft order, I haven't even heard that. It was supposed to be determined by a random lottery, so maybe that was going to happen when they start the draft. I don't know.
I'm just scrolling through their the UFL's X page right now. It looks like they got the first pick was in, and it looks like the Dallas Renegades selected Chim Okafor as the first pick in the 2026 UFL draft.
Okay.
So that was an hour or so ago.
Okay.
So all the teams making their picks, they got like round recaps on all the different team channels. So maybe we could gather all that up for next week and talk about that in more in depth, because I think it's still kind of going on, or I don't know if they're just dropping all these names at once. Yeah. So
I'm sure Royce is going to be on top of that. He's big into the UFL, so if he's not watching us, he's probably watching the UFL draft.
Yeah, that's clearly what he's doing, because he's not in a live chat today. So I assume Royce is busy.
Yep. And the UFL season kicks off on March 27th, so they're about 2 months away from kicking it off for real this spring.
Yep.
Okay, well that's all for the UFL. I watched a few more episodes of Eli's Places. I know you think I'm ridiculous for getting into this show, but I love this show.
I mean, I'm cool with you getting into this show. I am just questioning the merits of as much airtime as you want to dedicate to this.
Well, I watched episodes 6, 7, and 8 out of 10 for the season, so I had 2 more next week. But in episode 6, he went to Texas A&M, and he was talking about the history of the Gig'em hand gesture. I didn't know what this was, but it's basically a thumbs up sign. But it's something they came up with many, many years ago when they were playing against the Horned Frogs in TCU, talking about how do you catch a frog and this and that, and whatever. But they also talked to several guys who are yell leaders for the team. They're not cheerleaders, they're yell leaders. They stand around and they they get everybody to yell things in the stands, and they're very high energy. And they also talked about their mascot, which is a collie by the name of Reveille, and that was kind of cool. And they talked about the history of the 12th man, because Texas A&M is home of the 12th man, and they talked about that history. So it was pretty good. I learned several things about Texas A&M. And then the next episode, episode 7, Eli reprises his role as Chad Powers from a season or two ago, when he went to Penn State and did those tryouts as Chad Powers. But this time he went to the set of the Hulu comedy series called Chad Powers, and he spoke to the star of the show, Glenn Powell, who actually plays Chad Powers in the series. I didn't even know that they were having a Chad Powers TV series on Hulu. And
now you need to go watch that and report back to that.
Now I do. Now I know that that's going on. I don't think it's come out yet, has it? I think it's premiering.
I thought it did. I could be wrong. Is anybody else watching this Chad Powers show? I thought I heard good things about it.
Yeah,
like surprisingly good things about it.
I don't know if I could get into the TV series, but we'll see. We'll see. I might give it one episode and say, nah, I'm out, and that'll be it. And then the
Scott
last
says it is out, Dad. It is Football Mrs. Doubtfire, which is a string of words I didn't think I'd ever hear in my life, but you have my curiosity.
Interesting. Yeah. Okay. Well, maybe I will check out an episode just to figure out
and
what
report back on that. You know what? I am behind that. Bring us the Chad Powers segment, Randy.
All right. Maybe I'll do that when I'm done with the Eli's Places. We'll see. And then the last episode that I watched, a lot of these episodes, they're like, 15, 17, 18 minutes long. They're not very long. But this last one, episode 8, was a little over 30 minutes. And it just seemed like it went on forever. But he was talking about...
just like this segment.
Yeah. Talking about the late coach Mike Leach, whose nickname was the Pirate, because he loved Key West, Florida, and the whole pirate theme down there. Mike Leach passed away in 2022 at the age of 61. And he was famous for his air raid offense. It was a lot of fun. He was talking to a lot of guys who knew him, coached with him. So they were in a Key West bar for most of the episode, just talking about him, telling stories about him and showing clips and whatnot. So if you're a Mike Leach fan, you definitely want to check that episode out. So like I said, little longer than some of the other ones, but these guys had a ton of stories to tell. So I'll check out the last 2 episodes for next week, and maybe I'll check out an episode of Chad Powers and see what that's all about.
Cool. Report back on the Chad Powers. Eli's Places.
Yeah.
Well,
there's only 2 episodes left, so that'll be a quick recap next week.
Okay. Oh boy.
This is what I bring to the show.
Yeah.
Today's birthdays for January 13th. We have one birthday today. Quarterback Josh Allen turns 38 today.
Freeman, not Josh Allen. Freeman.
I'm sorry, Josh Freeman. Josh Freeman, yes. 38, played his college football at Kansas State. He was the 17th overall pick in the 2009 NFL draft by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Played 6 seasons in the NFL. He was with Tampa Bay from 2009 to 2013. He was traded to the Vikings during the 2013 season, and he played for the Indianapolis Colts in 2015. So not a long career, but I think a name that a lot of people remember him playing in the NFL. I know I remember.
I didn't until you put that into the notes today. I forgot about Josh Freeman existing until you did that.
Yeah. Well, I over the last several years, I've been putting together my own spreadsheet of every day of the year and whose birthdays and what anniversaries they are, so I don't have to go look these things up. And this was the only one I had for this particular day. So there might be others, but last I knew, that was all I had on my spreadsheet. So that's what I went with. Okay, and we do have 2 obituaries today. This is where we take a moment and we honor those who made the world of football a better place. The first one is that of Billy Truax, a tight end in the NFL for 10 seasons, has passed away at the age of 82. Truax played college football at LSU and was selected in the second round of the 1964 NFL draft by the Cleveland Browns. He was also selected in the second round of the 1964 American Football League draft by the Houston Oilers. He signed with the Browns, but was traded to the Los Angeles Rams and played for the team from 64 to 70. He also played for the Dallas Cowboys from 1971 to 73, I think it was. And he won Super Bowl VI as a member of the Cowboys.
All right. And our final obituary this week is that of Jim Furlong, a linebacker and punter in the Canadian Football League for 12 seasons, has passed away at the age of 85. Furlong played college football at Tulsa and signed with the Calgary Stampeders of the CFL. He played his entire career with the Stampeders from 1962 to 1973. Furlong played in 3 Grey Cup games and won his only Grey Cup title in 1971.
Before you take that graphic off of there, I wanted to point this out.
Yeah.
I found this card. You see how it's got the Post cereal logo up in the upper right-hand corner? I thought that was kind of cool. And it's in English and it's in French. So the top half, is his stats and talks about him in English, and then it's in French. Now, I don't know if this is the whole card or if this is the back of the card. I'm not sure. But when I found that, I said, that is cool. And that's what I went with it. I found several cards of his from the different teams. He only played for one team, but I found several different cards, and I thought that was the coolest one. So that's what I went with.
I mean, I'm surprised you didn't write his obituary in French, or we did it back to back, English and then in French. So,
oh no, what if I could? But I can't, so I won't. All right, upcoming events calendar. As I said before, the college transfer portal is going to be open until this Saturday, and then that'll be closed for the year. That's the only one they're going to have. Over 6,000 players involved in that right now. Today and tomorrow, the UFL player draft is going on in Arlington, Texas. On Monday, it's the College Football National Championship game on ESPN between number 1 Alabama and number 10 Miami of Florida. Sunday, February 8th is Super Bowl 60 in Santa Clara, California. And Tuesday, February 10th is going to be our final show for a while we take a break and concentrate on some other projects. I've already been working on an article that I wanted to get finished. I've been working on it for well over a year or two.
Article? Who writes articles anymore?
Well, yeah. It's something that I've been really wanting to put together, and I was kind of stuck on what I was doing and how I was going to finish this thing, and I finally had an epiphany the other day, and so now it's going along pretty good. So I should have that done in a few days, and we'll see what I do with it once I get it done. But
right on.
Yeah, we're going to take some time off. You rearranged your man cave studio, and I probably had to do that with mine. I know I've got a lot of stuff here I need to box up and get it in the basement and get it out of here. I'd kind of like to go, from this background, which I like. My wife got me these pegboard things, and I like what I've got here, but I haven't really switched things up the way I thought I would, because they're all on pegs. I could change this thing every week, but I just haven't. So I'm thinking about moving it over in front of the World of Football bookcase and having all the books in the background where I can change.
That's not a bad. That's not. But we've used that background for a couple of videos before. So
yeah,
I do like that one. If you ever need help setting it up, I know. Definitely, I have these new lights. So my sister got me for Christmas several years ago, because she's like, "Man, I gave you that stuff a million years ago, and you're finally just using it." Well, she's got a nice curtain back there, so I got a curtain. I got some new lights, actually. I ditched the ring light, and now I got a couple of photo lights up, and I feel like it looks a lot brighter in here. You could use the same, Randy. You almost blend into the background of the video.
I forgot to turn on my ring light today, and normally I turn that on before I do anything else, but I forgot, so it's sitting over here off right now. So I'll.
Well, you gotta get that neon sign with the Lions logo back there turned on in some of your shots too.
Yeah, you can barely see it back there. Yeah, that lights up. That's pretty cool. So we'll see what we can do. All right. Anything else before we call this a show? It started out pretty rough, but I think we're.
Oh, I was gonna say Dale jinxed us. I'm not gonna let him forget that. But yeah, started off a little rough, but here we are, guys. That's the beauty and magic of live broadcasting that we've decided to embark on. But I think it was a very solid show, quick show. And before we get out of here, I see we do have one question in the chat real quick, Dad. I am curious to hear what you think of this. Scott asked, did you guys get a chance to look at the FanDuel Network drama? Now all the Major League Baseball teams have cut contracts. Not sure they are going to get sold before they get shut down. No TV deal for the IFL. I did hear about the 9 or whatever Major League Baseball teams cutting ties.
Yeah.
Definitely not a great look. I think the IFL could still lean on Yahoo.
Right.
We'll see how that goes, or they could do half IFL Network, half Yahoo. I'm not sweating it too much. It is stinky, but until we get all the details from the IFL, who've been a little hush hush about it, which I get, I'm sure they're working through some stuff, but we'll have to wait and see. Okay,
Yeah, when they
fair. Yahoo is streaming, not TV, but the FanDuel, I don't know. I feel like they could just shift over to Yahoo and be okay. I don't know, until we get some more details on that. Like I said, I'm not sweating it.
Yeah, when I heard that they were signing with FanDuel originally, I thought, well, that's a major
That was a
signing.
get.
That's big
That was a
time for
get.
them. Congratulations. And now it's all falling apart, through no fault of the IFL. It's just
Right.
I thought FanDuel was going to be a solid partner, but now everybody's cutting ties with them for whatever reasons. I don't know what's going on with them, but yeah, it's not a good look.
Yeah, people got to remember also, it's not the sports betting app. Like the FanDuel network is its own kind of entity. So it's not
Right.
the app or whatever that's in trouble. It's this network side. But we'll have to just wait and see. Like I said, it's easy to be reactionary and talk about how bad of a look it is. And it's a bad look, don't get me wrong. But I think until we get more out there and see
Right.
what happens, let the dust settle. I mean, the IFL kicks off in March. A lot can happen
Yeah.
between now and then. And
Yeah.
like I said, who knows? Could they jump over to, maybe it's just streaming. Maybe, you lose the national TV side of things, which stinks. But maybe something else blossoms in the meantime. Just have to wait and find out.
Yeah.
And then, yes, Dale, this episode you are going to take full responsibility for. And we'll have to come up with a new name for it. Maybe not the Dale episode, but
Dang, Dale.
yeah, Dale also adds, we just have to wait and see what happens to the FanDuel network. We won't know until the end of January. So a little bit of time.
Yeah.
We'll see if that all gets shaken out. Knowing our luck, Randy, nothing's going to get solved till we take our big long break, and then we can let everybody else
Yeah.
talk
Yeah.
about that.
Well, I'm not saying that we're not going to do any podcast during our break. I mean, if something
Well,
big
we're not doing
happens,
this show.
right.
I've already told my wife this show is not happening on Tuesdays, so don't be looking for us live on Tuesdays.
But we might pop up and do something, if it warrants it. We can always do that.
Yeah, there'll definitely be some live. I think we're going to do some live Arsenal shows, maybe even some other, definitely some previews for the league seasons. I think is something I'm going to have to reach out to a few guys. We normally do the IFL preview with Trey. I'm sure Trey would be down to do that again. I was going to contact somebody for the NAL, do an NAL preview, and maybe talk to somebody for an AF1 preview. Maybe Scott and Tim can hop on and we can do an AF1 preview live stream with them. Scott's obviously watching. So Scott, I'm just going to throw that out there into the ether, and maybe we can work something out closer to the season starting up. But yeah, Scott says anytime you want. Heck yeah, bud. So that's what I was thinking. I figured maybe we could do, we have to work the logistics out. Like it'd be cool to do like 3 nights and 3 previews for the different leagues before the leagues get kicked off. I have somebody in mind for the National Arena League talk. I just have to slide into some DMs and chit chat with them because I don't think they watch our show, but I think they'd be a fun guest. Somebody we've kind of been orbiting around for a little bit. So, yeah.
Yeah, they'll probably say, Adam, who are you? What do you do? Where are you from?
Exactly. I mean, I the moment I say your name, people are like, oh, Randy, we love Randy.
Oh, yeah.
That's how it usually happens.
Okay. All right. Well, that's all the time we have for this week. Don't forget to check out the World of Football merchandise at teepublic.com. That's teepublic.com for the latest in football-related T-shirts, hats, mugs, and more from our merch store.
20th anniversary shirts and pick shirts soon.
Still working on that. Yeah. Well, that's why we're taking time off so you can dedicate more time to get stuff up there on our merch store.
Yeah, that's that good answer. Not to spend time with my family and get prepared for a child. Yep. Not any of that.
Nope. And remember, folks, some people may love football more than we do, but nobody, and I mean nobody, loves more football than the two of us guys sitting here in Kalamazoo, Michigan, talking about all things football. Join us again next time when we'll try and do a better job. Yeah, right. Until then, I'm Randy Snow.
And I'm Adam Snow.
And we'll see you all next week.
Wow, Dad. What? I'm glad this show is over. Technical difficulties and all. Oh, crap. We're still live. Oh, bye, everybody.
Thanks again for checking out this edition of This Week in the World of Football. New episodes of the show are posted every Tuesday and can be found wherever good podcasts are available. You can find the World of Football on Facebook, X, Instagram, and Threads by searching for TWOF Kalamazoo or using the links in the episode description below. Be sure to subscribe to the World of Football on YouTube for more great football-related content. Just search for the World of Football Kalamazoo or use the handle @TheWorldOfFootball to find us. Remember, every like, comment, and subscription really does help us out, and we appreciate you for that support. We hope to see you again next time.